ahead and get this party started. Share my screen. I'm going to start off with one here this morning, actually. One that I like quite a bit. This is from some things I was looking at yesterday. Right here on dollar Swiss. I really like, kind of the direction this is taking right now. You can see it's already gone +5. I was looking at it this morning. It was coming down, and I was looking for it to come back up above this 9,900 level right up in here, and it did make a nice little close above. And also it's +5. We got LP trend line pointing up, so everything's kind of pointing in the Swiss's direction. And on top of that, we get a trade to where we could probably look for a little bit higher risk reward ratio, seeing how the markets are indicating more of a risk on day here today. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with a one lotter on dollar Swiss. Make sure I put that in as 0.01 because that can often get very, very that can get bad. For a buy, there we go. And close that down. There we go. And as far as my stop loss and take profit go, I'm going to put my stop right below this swing low right down in here. So the swing low 0.98970. I'm going to put it at 0.98960 right below the swing low. Where was my entry price at? Let's see, entry price 0.99222. So that would be 20, let's see, that would be 27 pips of risk or 28 pips of risk right there. And I think this is one where we can look for, so I'm doing a buy at the market here. Buy entry at market. I'll go ahead and make these even numbers. I'll put it 0.898962 just to make it an even number for 28 pips of risk. And looking for a limit of 1 to 1.5 risk reward. So 14. So I'm going to put this 48 pips away. .987. Oops. I'm sorry. 0.99702. And evidently it's going to take its own sweet time to be processed here. While I'm up here, let me I think I accidentally X'd out of my PitView here, so let me log back into that. There we go. Nice. I can actually put the trade up on there at the top. There we go. Swiss has been actually pretty strong, and I think now that it's kind of broken and has some space above that 9,900 level, I think it can go back up and start to challenge the parity level. It's actually this the dollar Swiss, I should say, has been fairly strong, even stronger than like the short side of the equation on the euro dollar. So this is one where as this comes up, you know, I'll probably move my stop for using a 3-bar reversal, but I do like that as far as the trade goes. So I'm putting my stop 1 pip below the swing low. So I'll put that at 0.98962 for me. And then put my limit. And that's correct, right? 98922. It's 20. I'm sorry, that's 26 pips of risk. I had it at 28 pips of risk. So 26 pips of risk. So limit 1 to 1.5 risk reward. So that'd be 13. That'd be 39 pips. So 522. So this would be 0.99612. I think my math's right on this. Let's see, 22, 26 pips. So yeah, okay, that's right. So 26, I'm risking 26 pips. 1 to 1.5 would be 39 pips. So that would put me at, yeah, 39 pips would be 0.99612. Starting off on this, and this would be deemed more of probably a risk-on scenario in the markets, although the global markets have been up. Well, actually, I should say the DAX and the FTSE over in Europe have been up. Some of the Asian markets have been a little mixed, but I do like that as far as, you know, everything kind of working in our favor. You know, buyers looking to come in. This has been making higher highs and higher lows. This is you know, it's been teetering on that +5 level. It's broken a key level, which we like. So we'll put some lipstick on that pig and see if we can't make something out of it. So I'll go ahead and copy that over and see if we can't get a little bit better risk reward ratio on that, which is quite possible. So February 17th. Dollar Swiss. See if that can't line up for us. Other things kind of adding to dollar strength this morning. Let me just kind of show you a little bit of what the news has shown us here this morning. PPI, Producer Price Index, absolutely crushed it this morning. You know, even with oil prices the way they've been, the PPI, the Producer Price Index, the expectation was a -0.2 and it came out at a +0.1. So that inflationary type of number has led to a little bit more dollar strength here this morning. And then the core PPI coming out at 0.4, the expectation was 0.1. So these are both good numbers that actually favor the dollar. On top of that, when you look at kind of where the markets are, see, this is stocks overseas. This is the Asian markets. Nikkei and Hang Seng are both down about 200 points. But Europe's actually been doing very well. Financial Times Stock Exchange, FTSE is up 1.75%. The DAX is up 2%, which favors well for risk on. And then we have our Dow futures up 120 and S&P futures up 15. I had thought about the potential for you know, waiting until after the markets opened. However, I think this is one of those situations where we kind of want to get in ahead of it. Markets are indicating a positive open. Markets were positive yesterday, which led to some more dollar strength in the market. So that one's looking pretty good right now as far as a good opportunity goes. Just to kind of give you an overall view of what's been happening over the last 24 hours or so, there's our dollar Swiss. Kind of show you the euro dollar. Euro dollar's been hanging at this low right in through here. Got stopped out. Well, actually, I took a trade to short euro dollar yesterday. Got stopped out right around break even. I had a really break even kind of day yesterday. I got stopped out at break even on a couple of my trades yesterday. on dollar CAD, and so I mean I didn't really win anything. I didn't really lose anything yesterday. So I'm going to keep that dollar Swiss on. If the markets can't have continue their roll, from Friday, Monday the U.S. markets were closed, so Friday they were up 300 points. Yesterday they were up, and so if we can continue on with that rally, we can look for some positive momentum here at these levels on this dollar Swiss trade at the very least. The one I was teetering between was actually also on the pound dollar, right in through here. We were looking for a break below this consolidation yesterday, which it did do right in through here, where it closed below this consolidation level. I didn't take this trade. I believe it would have been profitable on this little tick down because you've only been really risking about 30 pips. The thing that brought the pound up overnight was their employment numbers came out, their claimant count change, and actually came out above expectations. Actually, really good. That's what caused the big rise in the pound overnight. That little blip on the screen where claimant count change. They were expecting negative 2.9, came out at negative 14.8, which is a really, really good number. And they also were able to revise their previous numbers upward. So that led to a large appreciation in the pound. But since then, it's been coming back down, if you will. It's been kind of teetering in between this 4,300 level and the lower edge of the 4,200 level. But instead of going short on the pound, I chose to go long on this dollar Swiss, just because this dollar Swiss is the dollar Swiss that we traded here is more in kind of a no man's land territory. If dollar strength rules the day, as it did yesterday, the pound continued to get pounded yesterday. So dollar Swiss, I chose that one just because it has a lot of room to go. It has a lot of room before it would reach what I think would be resistance. An easy resistance level to look at on that dollar Swiss would be that parity level. That parity level at looking at parity at right at that 1 Swiss per dollar range. So dollar Swiss is the one we're taking right here at the beginning. Looks to be doing pretty well at this point. And we'll see where that goes. Now, other things to look at here would be, it seems as though when you look at all the currencies together, sorry, I forgot to go through the rounds here. Let me kind of take off some of these lines. Like when you look at euro dollar, euro dollar starting to break through this support level. Pound dollar starting to break below 4,300. Dollar Swiss is starting to break up, showing dollar strength. Dollar yen is starting to go to the upside, showing some dollar strength. Canadian oil's kind of gone back up here in the last couple of days after announcements of production cuts in supply, if you will. With less supply, there would be, to try to strengthen oil prices. So you got Canadian getting stronger here versus the dollar. New Zealand and Aussie have both been kind of just more sideways than anything. If you look at kind of the last 4 hours or so, you can see some dollar strength eking into the New Zealand and Aussie. So point being that it looks like, for the time being anyway, that dollar strength is kind of ruling the market here this morning. So no need to really look at any other dollar strength trades because we're already in a dollar strength trade. So if the dollar continues its upward momentum, we should hit. And especially if the market's open to the upside here this morning, we should be able to hit on this dollar Swiss trade. Only looking for really 39 pips, which isn't asking a huge amount from Mr. Market here. All right. There we go. Kind of going back up to the top here. Whoops. I think I forgot to. Global markets are mixed. Asia was down. Europe is up big. US futures are up a decent amount, I would say. Key news, PPI above expectations. Yeah, that overall number, that actually was pretty good. 0.1 versus negative 0.2 expected. Then you had GDP, employment numbers, better than expected. Their claimant count change blew it out of the water. And then today also at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the FOMC meeting minutes. I wouldn't expect a huge amount of volatility on the meeting minutes at 2 p.m. this afternoon. It's already kind of built in that the FOMC meeting minutes, just based on their statement last month, is going to be a little bit more dovish. So, I mean, I think Janet Yellen, when her testimony has already looked, has already been kind of on the record of saying that, yeah, the Fed members, and even in their statement in the last FOMC meeting, even in their statement, she suggested that, hey, there is some concern. They added verbiage of concerns over global markets, mainly China and whatnot. So, I don't expect anything huge coming out of the meeting minutes. I don't think it's going to be enough when the meeting minutes are released to create huge amounts of havoc in the dollar. Like sometimes in the meeting minutes, especially back at in late 2015. Mid to late 2015, people would look at those meeting minutes as a kind of an indication of when the Fed was going to raise rates. And in this case, I don't think that those indications that people would kind of live and die off those FOMC meeting minutes. But I don't think in today's world, we're still looking for when the next Fed rate hike will be. But I think that people have kind of already priced in the probability that they're probably not going to raise rates in March. If anything, the soonest they probably could raise rates would be in June, another rate hike, if you will. So, the 2 p.m., you can, hopefully we can already be out of something like a dollar Swiss trade at 2 p.m. But there could be a small amount of volatility, but I'm not expecting a huge amount. I think whatever the prevailing trend is going into the meeting minutes will continue after the meeting minutes. So if the dollar's strong going in, I think the dollar will continue that strength. Dollar's weak going in, it will probably continue into weakness. But right now we're showing quite a bit of dollar strength overall in the market. So strategies today, we really are looking to trade more on a technical basis. Risk on. Dollar strength. Already long dollar Swiss. Beginning of class. We can still look to trade into some more risk off scenarios. Say if the market, that's what we want to really look at almost every day is, okay, markets are going up. If the markets continue up, that should help out our trade on dollar Swiss. However, what would be the scenario to where we'd want to look for further developments or further amounts of further amounts of profit should the market tank, if you will. So that's always on the back of our minds is, okay, so we know this is going on. So what if the market does tank? Then we'd probably be maintaining our focus and putting our focus back into dollar yen or one of the yen crosses, if you will. We've been liking the idea of trading CAD yen. I was up like 65 pips at one point on CAD yen yesterday, and I was looking for 75 pips of profit. I moved my stop down to break even, and I ended up getting stopped out at break even on that. And you can kind of see if you go to all the yen pairs here, if you just pulled up even Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, they should all look relatively the same, with commodities being our kind of our risk on assets, and then the yen crosses giving into risk off when it comes back to the downside. There's two risk off scenarios you could look at. One of them would just be a straight up trade on dollar yen. Here, let me pull up dollar yen for us real quick. Dollar yen's been pretty consolidated right in through here. You can see that, you know, in the last couple days it had a bit of a drop here yesterday, and it's come back up here at this 114 level. Overall, you know, it's still been making slight little, you know, it was coming down pretty heavy right in through here. In the last 6 hours, it's kind of experienced a little bit more buying pressure, but it's starting to cross to the downside, if you will. So a really easy one on dollar, if you wanted to trade in a risk off scenario, should the dollar start to sell off, would just be to look at kind of the intraday consolidation in through here. In fact, I'll kind of zoom out or zoom in a little bit more here to where you can kind of see where this top is right in through here, where it's formed some resistance. And then just looking at the intraday bars right in through here, even from the start of the London session, you know, it did make a nice little run to the upside. And it's kind of hovering right around, you know, if you look at it, it's kind of been hovering right around this 114 level. So should the markets open and then we get kind of a mass sell-off, if you will, right there at the open, I would just look for some type of reversal here beneath the 114 level. In fact, I like this previous swing low right down in here. It almost makes the semblance of an intraday trend line, if you will. If you were to connect the low of this candle to the low of this candle to the low of this candle, you have a bit of a little trend line that's formed right in through there. But market reversals, you know, should the market reverse course, you know, truth be told, we'll probably get stopped out on dollar Swiss, but it would probably bring the dollar yen back to the downside. I think after the market being up 2 days in a row, you know, especially with the big 300-point gainer there the other day on Friday, if we do get a sell-off, it'll probably be a large sell-off. If we get some massive profit taking, if you will, I think that, you know, we could be in store for a larger amount of movement to the downside. So if it breaks through this recent support level where it came down and bounced, it came down and bounced almost right off 114. So if it comes down below here, it would be an obvious clear break of that 114 level. Again, a lot of these key levels aren't really rocket science. We're just looking for it to, obviously you can see that it's been consolidated over the last several hours. What we would like to see on dollar yen is we would like to see it continue up, because that would mean the dollar yen or dollar Swiss is probably going to reach our max profit level. But should it reverse course, where did I put a check mark there? Delete. Put your stop, whatever this swing high happens to be. And then in this case, I would just look for it, because you're looking for about at like a 40 pip stop or whatnot. I would just put your limit at a normal, just 1-to-1 risk reward level. And further confirmation on this, I think this would happen either way if it went negative. But, further confirmation on this is, this is still going to be, if it comes down, this would still be kind of a lower high. But you can kind of see how consolidated it's even been right in here. It's been kind of turning. So you'd want, another further confirmation would be the strength of it going -5. You'd want to see this kind of breaking down into lower lows right in through here on the LP trend line, which would be a good indicator for it, for lots of selling action based on everybody being tracked here. I don't think you'd have to worry about. I think that if it does go into -5 territory, you're certainly going to be looking at a lower lows being made there. So that would be considered more of our risk off scenario for today. So there was a trade we just took on dollar Swiss. Pound, for right now, we're kind of staying away from the pound just for right now. So once again, being in this dollar Swiss and then reversing course, if you get stopped out on dollar Swiss, you won't be able to lick your wounds too long. And we say that quite often in this class. You'd have to, it would almost be a close and reverse type of scenario. You wouldn't be able to lick your wounds too long on dollar Swiss if it were to get stopped out, because you'd be looking to turn around and look for opportunities to sell on dollar yen. And then the other one that I was looking at here was actually on CAD yen also, because I think if, with kind of the supply and demand action going here on CAD yen, especially when it comes to oil prices, you can see it's starting to make a retracement right up in here. If you look at CAD yen, it's starting to show a little bit of selling pressure. It started to turn a little bit right in through here, but there is quite a bit of selling pressure here on this CAD. You would almost look at the CAD, the CAD yen the same way you do at dollar yen. It's making a nice little retracement up to that 78.6 level. It's almost reached that level, and I mean we had a large amount of momentum going to the upside there on CAD, and then it just kind of faltered and came back down. And same as dollar yen, if dollar yen were to break that recent low, you could almost look to be selling this, at any time if it makes a -5, as it's kind of come up and reached that 78.6 level right up and through here. Got really close. I think I had thought that it actually came closer to hitting that than it actually did. Anyway, on the CAD yen, I would kind of look at it as already kind of being coming up into what we would call like a retracement zone. So another thing you could look at if you wanted to be a little bit more aggressive of selling into any risk off scenario is, now that it has, come up into what between the 61.8 and 78.6 levels, is keep an eye here on the 1 hour totals. And you already see kind of the course reversing right in through here. Have it really kind of an intraday trend line, if you will, if you went to this low, which we don't know if that would be an actual trend line yet. Got 1, 2, and then you don't really have that third bounce, but it has come up into the reversal level right in through here. So if this were to go to that -5 territory, if it goes -5 at any point, we could be in for some large amount of selling on CAD yen, which oftentimes can work out pretty well for us when it comes to selling into this, because when it does move down, it tends to have some very large volatility to the downside when it does move down. And this would all be triggered. Stocks are just now opening for trading right now here in the U.S., but if we get any type of momentum shift in these markets this morning, like for example, for those of you like looking for more confirmation, you can look for the same thing that we looked for on dollar yen if you wanted to. You could look for it to break down below this low right down in here. That would probably give you a little bit more confirmation, or added confirmation if you will, or just go with our plan here, which is a -5 on the 1 hour total. So but if you wanted to be a little bit more conservative, you can see this 38.2 level right in here. You can look for it to come down below this low as more of a confirmation. But in my case, I wouldn't have a problem with being a little bit more aggressive here if it goes -5 at any time. I would have no problems being long dollar Swiss and short this CAD yen either, because even though we didn't get it yesterday, we ended up kind of getting stopped out at break even on both trades on euro dollar and CAD yen yesterday. It still showed that same volatility that I was just talking about. So stop, put it 1 pip above the swing high, and you could go for like a 50 max on your stop, which we've been having to do lately with the underlying volatility on these. And then for a limit, look to 1 to 1.5 risk reward. There we go. And this would essentially be selling CAD yen into a retracement. Or on its retracement. And let's see here. Dow looks like it's up about 105 points. We're about 3 minutes into the open right now. It's actually far less than what the futures were indicating. S&P's up 15, and excuse me, and Nasdaq's up 41. So we're getting a little bit of positive momentum here in the markets. Probably not out of the woods just yet here. They're already saying it's the Dow on track for its biggest 3 days of gains since August, with its opening right now. They always say that right at the market open, and it's like, wow, market hasn't closed yet, folks. That's making a very broad assumption. That's making a broad assumption that it's actually going to stay up. We all know how powerful fear can be in the markets, and I don't think fear is all the way gone. I don't think we're out of the woods just yet. So I'll go ahead and bring this down. Let's look at dollar Swiss. It's probably still hovering around those highs from where we exited. Looks like we're up about 8 pips so far on that. Not a huge amount of risk on here just for a one lotter. Let's switch gears and look at dollar yen also here. Yeah, dollar yen's starting to come down a bit. -0.26, so it's starting to kind of climb down here. We'll have to just see how this kind of first half hour of trading goes, if you will. Markets go up, dollar Swiss will reach max profit. Markets go down, either CAD yen or the dollar yen will rule the day. Let's kind of take a snapshot and see what's going on around the horn here. This pound dollar has been one of the more volatile ones here. In fact, if we were probably taking the pound dollar at the beginning of class, we probably would have already reached 50 pips of profit from the high to the low. Yeah, just from the start of class, the thing moved 70 pips, moved down 70 pips. Pound is one to where, looking at it, the whole reason why I kind of ignored the pound and went with dollar Swiss was because, they did have some pretty positive news come out overnight. Their CPI came out in line with expectations the other day, or in line with its broader expectations. It's starting to make a little bit of a climb here. From a daily standpoint, it's still got a lot of room to go. I mean, it's, this right down in here, this is right at about the 4,100 level right over in here. So, I mean, if you look at it from a daily, this is just looking at the daily chart. I sometimes like to get a kind of a clear picture of what's happening overall. We were starting to see some retracements to the upside there on the pound, and now we're starting to see it breaking down, if you will. See, here was our support level right in through here. We were looking at the pound yesterday for a potential entry once it broke down through these lows, because it broke down under 4,400, and then before we knew it, before we could even think about shorting it, it had already moved like 100 pips to the downside. So when the pound moves, it can certainly move. But I don't think it's necessary right now to look for a pound short. I think that, if the dollar strength does rule the day here this morning, I'm perfectly happy with taking those profits off on dollar Swiss, because all these situations really give us, they give us opportunities to trade pretty much in both directions today, no matter what happens, of having some type of opportunity to either capture a trade should the markets continue to the upside, capture a trade should the markets sell off. So there's really no need to increase risk and go into something more volatile like pound dollar. So that's pretty much where I'll kind of leave the strategies here for this morning, just really having all our bases covered. Let's see here. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't lose you there. Sorry, I was looking at something. I think that's a great place to be, actually, here for the next at least 24 hours or so, of looking at some of these different opportunities. Because capturing a 1 to 1.5 on dollar Swiss would be a good deal. And then basically looking for the market to reverse course. So not a bad situation to be in. Just watch your numbers on there, and hopefully we'll continue this kind of upward momentum for the markets here this morning and hit max profit there on that dollar Swiss. Instead of being stopped out at break even over and over again. I'll go ahead and share this with you. There we go. Question that got kind of presented here on this CAD yen. Oh, it should have been popped up on there. Let's see here. That's from yesterday. There we go. You should have them on there now. On this CAD yen, I would say as long as it doesn't, when we're looking at this go -5, we called, got really close to that 78.6 level to the upside here. As long as it doesn't break this high right up in here, as long as it doesn't break this high, and start, I would take a -5 anywhere underneath the 100% retracement, essentially. So that's why I was, if you're wondering if I was being a little too cryptic, if you will, on this, is that anywhere below 100%, I'm looking for a reversal. If you wanted more confirmation, this would be like a 3-bar reversal if it broke this low. If you want a little bit more confirmation on that, but anywhere underneath here, I think if this thing starts to sell off, it could sell off rather quick. So that's why I wasn't trying to put out more of a vague trading idea. I just think that anywhere underneath this 100% retracement, if it comes up and even hits 78.6 and closes off of it, like a single bar touch and close, that could give a good indication to get in. So, it's already kind of almost reached that level. And again, to the downside, if you were looking for momentum, you could be looking just for it to break down below this 38.2 level, which would be the low here. Or if you're a PitView user, just look for it to go -5 and just put your stop in, because I think that would be another good indication that it's reversing. But I wouldn't be short both CAD yen and dollar yen. You can almost treat both of those as kind of a one cancels other order. If dollar yen executes first, take that short. CAD yen executes first, take that one, and just cancel out the other side. Dollar Swiss is starting to come down here a little bit here this morning, because it looks like markets are not selling off. They're just coming off their highs, if you will. But I would certainly pay close attention to any type of breakdown on those, whether it be on the yen or on CAD yen. Whenever the market has, and just another note on that, whenever, as far as volatility goes, whenever the market's been up several days in a row like it has been, the more hope that comes into the market, the more the market can get basically whipsawed by fear, if you will. So the more hopes that's built in, the more dramatic the selling will be if this market does go negative. So that's why, that's why I'm using such the closer numbers here, the closer candles, and just looking for these overall reversals much faster here on the CAD yen and dollar yen, is because if it does reverse course, we could be in for a large amount of selling if should the market sell off. So the basic premise being, right now the market's up, Dow's up 112, S&P's up 14, Nasdaq's up like 33 right now. So it's coming off its highs. But if it does happen to go the other direction, if it starts to go negative at all, you could be in for a large amount of selling coming into the market. That remains to be seen. Just got to be patient with it. Not every trade immediately goes in our favor and hits profitability. So, I mean, this could just be the market just kind of loading up if it is going to go higher. Either way, we have both directions covered. So that's about all I got for this morning, folks. I'm going to go ahead and log out here. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording.